Hi everyone, welcome to session 3 of how to create a cryptocurrency payment system in Node.js. So in this session what we're going to do is we're going to expand on our orders API that we covered in the last session, and we're going to create our order schema. So this is what's going to basically store the data every time we post. We're going to sort of create the interface for this. So we're just going to sort of create the schema and tie it up. So what you want to do is you want to go into your orders model. And let's start by getting mongoose in there. So mongoose equals require mongoose. If you've seen my other videos, you know that this is quite common. Let's do const schema equals, let's do order schema. Equals new schema. Let's delete. Let's just do const equals. Okay. Let's change this to be mongoose.schema. And we'll do an export. So export the order out so that we can import it in other things. Now our order, we've kind of touched on this a little bit in the last session. So what it's going to want to have is we're going to want to have an address, which is the type of string, and it is required. So make sure we do required true. And we also want to do this as unique. So index, and this is important for cryptocurrencies. So we'll do index unique true as well. So we just want to make sure that that's there. That's the payment address. So we're calling it address. We could call it a payment address or something else. I think I like payment address actually. So we'll do payment address, and then we want to have the amount. Now amount is very different from price, but it's the similar metric. So here we can do type. I think we want to have this as a number. Required is true. Index. We don't want to index it. We'll leave it at that. We'll have the price. Now this will also be a number. Required true. Make sure all of these are set. Then we want to have a okay, then we want to have so we've got our price, we've got our amount, got our payment address. We want to have the product as well. So what we'll do is this. We'll just link it basically. So we'll do type equals mongoose.schema.types.object.id. Honestly, when you've written as much Mongo as this, or mongoose at least, you start to remember these sorts of things. Okay, ref. And we'll have the product. Sorry. So I'm trying a new format with these videos, so sorry if it's a little bit janky, but basically I'm trying to aim for around 15 to 20 minutes for each video, just because it's been requested that some people want to get smaller bites of content. So it's, it's just trying to get me to adjust to this new way. So sorry if the videos are a little bit off at the moment. I just keep trying to remind myself not to talk too much like I'm doing right now, and keep looking at the clock. Okay, so we've got the order model in here. That should be fine. Everything's running cool. You'll see the stuff from the last session on there. Let's go into our controller and let's import it. Okay, so there we go, we've got in everything here. So the next thing we want to do is we want to be able to get a payment address or an amount and price and a product. So these are the things we want to do. Now, if we have a look at our controller, we already have the product ID, so that's easy enough to do. So what we can do is just do const. Now we could just basically pass the ID, but I think the best thing to do here is, because we want to throw an error if the product doesn't exist. So let's import the. Okay, let's just import the model for this one. Normally I would have a controller root and I wouldn't deal with the model, but in this case, just because we're doing some stuff with the controller that's slightly more varied, we're going to do require products /model. All right. So we're just going to basically require this. So const product equals await product.find by ID product ID. Okay, and then if not product, return invalid. Oh, we'll throw errors here. Throw new error invalid product. All right, so we just throw an error. That's fine. We could set an error status, but I'm not going to go too much of that. That's basically Node.js stuff. Here we're more caring about how to implement a safe and secure payment system. Okay, so if no product or product doesn't exist, then we just throw invalid product. We can put invalid product ID. That makes a bit more sense. Okay. Then the next thing we want to do, let's get out of here and go back into our order model. Okay, so product, done. We can do, I guess, order.create. Now I am commenting this out because there's a bunch of stuff we need to do here. But we can just do this. Let's do return await order.create and product. Now we have got the price as well, so we can do this, price. The next thing we need to do is the amount and the payment address. So this is something else. Let's do that. So okay, so we need to do const amount equals get amount. Also, we just want to add something new in here called timestamps true. Okay, so we want to do get amount for price, and we'll pass in the price. So I guess we're going to have to make this a function. We'll probably want to have something else that handles this instead, but we can just put it in here. Let's do that. And the next thing we want to do is const address equals get new address. All right, so those are the two methods we now need to apply. Now, if you've seen any of the sort of other apps that we've done, we usually use some RPC methods and stuff like that. But in this one, we're not going to use RPC methods to get a new address. We're going to actually do something else cool, which is much more secure when you're maintaining a huge library of addresses. We want to keep it basically within cold storage, or because we're not going to be moving these funds out. So instead, what we're going to be using is something called an xpub, which is a public address, and we'll go into how to create that in a later session. But for the moment, we just want to architect this correctly. So what we can do is we can do it here. Normally, I would sort of feed this out into something else, but we're not going to do that. So, okay, we're just going to do function async get new address. Perfect. And then the next thing we want to do is, okay, so there is something kind of confusing about how we want to do this. We might want to store used addresses, and we probably will want to do that, but we'll make a data structure for that at another point. We're not going to worry too much about this in this session. The one thing so we're just going to return this, basically. I think that would do. We'll go into a little bit more. I'm just trying to work it out how to do this in order. So we've got address here. Let's make sure I actually name that correctly. And let's use single quotes here. And then async function get amount for price. And we pass in the price. So now this one, we're just going to return again. And we're going to return it in Satoshi levels. So we'll just do 188. That is a single Bitcoin, or basically whatever currency you're using if you're using it in a 188 capacity. Okay, perfect. So what we're going to do in the next session is, that was a quick one, 10 minutes. Yeah, so in our next session, what we're going to do is we're basically going to convert this into, we're going to basically make an API call to get the current price of Bitcoin. or whatever currency we're using. For this one, we're going to use Bitcoin, and we're going to use the testnet because it's the easiest thing to do, and most people know about Bitcoin. Also, I am a slight Bitcoin maximalist, so I believe Bitcoin is the best thing to do this stuff on. Normally, we have been doing stuff with our own little wallet called Livecoin, but we're not going to do that in this one. We're going to use Bitcoin, and we're going to use the testnet, so I'll explain how all of that works. But for this rest of this session, we're done here. We've basically added in the order model, and we've just put some stubs in for things that we want to do. So in the next session, we're going to look at getting a live price data from a pricing API, and then we'll just tie that up into our orders so we can create our orders with an actual price. So thanks for watching, everybody, and catch you next time.